Oh, good. It's going to work again tonight. That is fantabulous. I don't really have anything in particular to say at the beginning of this one. Just sleeping on the job. You want an FBI raid or a naughty corner?
She sent us to the naughty corner. I just made a joke. She sent us to the naughty corner. Wasn't even woke.
Go to the naughty corner right. Where's my shoe? Go to the naughty corner right now.
Party in the naughty corner. It's the place to be. Party in the naughty corner. She threw away the key. Party in the naughty corner. We can never leave.
Laughing at me at the same time. What are you two laughing at? Because both of you can go to the naughty corner right now. There's room for both of you now.
Again to the naughty corner. I just called Will's name. Again to the naughty corner. I am not to blame.
Larry, go to the naughty.
Go to the naughty corner. I'm a rock screamed at me. Go to the naughty corner. Carrie laughed at me. Party in the naughty corner. It's the place to be. Party in the naughty corner. She threw away the key. Party in the naughty corner.
Go to the naughty corner right now. Right now.
Go to the naughty corner. That's the way to be. What's up? Welcome in, everybody. It's that time.
I'm going to give you a 4.5 out of 10. You did good.
Oh, whatever.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Naughty Corner. Tonight, we are going to see about Sandra Birchmore, a 23-year-old who was killed by twin cops. And you know what these naughty guys did?
What?
I'm just killing her. They groomed her. She was apparently one of those what do they call them, the ride along kids or whatever,
Right.
the police patrol squad, or I can't remember what they call them. They'll tell you who it is in the video. What else is it after that? We're not doing
after that, what is the craziest thing you have seen in an x-ray that's in a human body?
People. Little tiny people.
No, like an item.
Oh.
Would you believe silverware if I told you?
I would. I have encountered a case. Well, when my wife had a kidney stone, we ended up spending some time in the ER down here, and as a quirky bit of history there, some dude came in with a light bulb in his room.
A light bulb?
A light bulb.
Where?
I asked, in his rectum, damn near killed him. Listen.
Oh, well.
I asked the lady after, the whole freak out that took place after he comes rolling in, right? I asked the lady, I was like, so what kind of a light bulb was it? She just started laughing maniacally, and I never got an answer out of her, because I'm thinking, like a Christmas light ain't too bad, but talk about one of them halogen jobs.
There are definitely fetishes of all kinds around here. So I just
go to the naughty corner. You're being bad. This is your fault. You did it.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Let's roll it to the top real quick.
We can do that because I have the ability, but not the intelligence.
I can't.
Sorry.
Oh.
You gonna do it or am I?
Oh, I mean, we can do it together.
Let's find this. Scotty Waddles, what's up, bud? Welcome in.
L. Crofty, welcome in.
Do I count? No, I don't think so. No. Chill with Claiborne. Good to see you, bud.
So that's Scotty Waddles with the gold, L. Crafty with the silver, and Claiborne with the bronze.
Excellent job. I was wondering if you're going to catch that.
Yeah.
Good job.
Nikki, welcome in.
We're gonna say hey to Nightbot. I mean, why not? He's
Why
putting in all
not?
that work.
Right?
You should name Nightbot. Got struck by lightning, Teresa P. Good to see you.
What's up, Teresa?
Brandon Mitchell. Good to see
Brandy
you, bud.
Mitchell.
You know who that is?
Mr. No Fly Zone. What's
Oh,
up? Corn on the cob.
We have a participation trophy
Award.
early in the show.
Yes.
Thank you for participating, Corn on the Cob. If you do me a favor and say and share this out to your most diehard bootlicker cat. If you've got a bunch of cop huggers in there, that's the one we want to be shared to. Yep. Might as well make a splash.
Might as well.
You have
Cannonball.
Oh wow, she worked in an ER. I bet you do have stories there.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to hear about any of that. That's going to involve fluids. All right, so this is Sandra Birchmore, and she has the unfortunate circumstance of being involved with cops. And did this end happily?
Oh, I forgot she was pregnant. Oh, dang.
Yeah, and that was the thing, wasn't it? All right, check it out, folks.
More alive. She is seen returning home to her apartment on February 1st, 2021, just before 6 p.m. Nothing out of the ordinary. 3 hours later, though, there's this. What is a Massachusetts law enforcement officer doing visiting Sandra's home? That evening, he came by her place at 9:30 p.m., and a half hour later, he left. That night,
how can you tell that's a cop?
Or at least, that's what the initial report said. At least.
I am not 100% on that. I think they're going to go over the
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. I just like when I find them, I just go through them. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I dig it. You don't actually watch them. You just bomb them in
right, because then, you know what I mean? It won't be good for the show.
I dig it.
Yeah.
3 police officers in Stoughton had inappropriate sexual relations with a young woman.
One of those officers had known Birchmore since she was 13 years of age.
That's 10 years. 10 years.
Involves twins.
Began a relationship with her at age 15.
This could mean any number of things, but chances are it's exactly what you think.
Oh my gosh.
He had a relationship with her at age 15.
Yeah. And this story gets even darker. You guys, it's difficult to talk about topics like these, topics so vile, we can't even mention them by word on YouTube. But if there is any justice to be brought for Sandra, we need to spread her story. And we need to see what we can do so that such tragedies don't ever happen again.
Well, Corn on the Cob, what you've gotten yourself into is called the participation trophy on a Sasquatch show. The way this works is you either come in with an exceptional name that I find particularly humorous and Corn on the Cob qualifies, or be funny. Troll a little, that's fine, but be funny at it, because if you troll unfunny, you get the big boot. So, you know, it's not exactly an all good sort of thing, but it's not bad.
Right. Welcome in, Smoking and Juice.
This is the infuriating story of Sandra Birchmore.
Cypress Police Explorer program is comprised of young children between ages of 14 and 20 who are interested in a potential career within the law enforcement field. The program works in conjunction with the Boy Scouts of America and creates a safe learning environment for the members to interact with others their age who have the same interests.
What?
Who have the same interests and goals.
I saw something I didn't like there.
For the members to interact.
Right there.
The kids with the guns?
Well, not that, but the guy who's like supposed to be watching them or whatever. I'm pretty sure if anybody there had a hair out of place, right over the top of the heads. But the only reason that works is because they're short.
Right.
Like, I don't know what he was trying to cover, but everybody just got muzzle flashed when he pulled the trigger. They wouldn't die, but their hair would be singed. They'd have black marks on the back of their head, all that. Just saying, it's not very safe.
interests, and goals.
Did you hear that? The Explorer program creates a safe learning environment and an opportunity for teens to meet other teens. Neither of these things was true for Sandra Birchmore. When she joined the Explorers program in Stoughton, Massachusetts, she was 13 and eager to meet other law-passionate teens. This was happening in 2010. Sandra was a good girl, that shy, kind girl that did not have.
Oh, wow. I don't know if that felt wrong. I felt really wrong. Her saying that Sandra was a good girl and the way she said it and popped up these boobies at the same time. I feel like there might be a little more in the underwriting here than we're, supposed to comment on, but I'm going to let it go.
I mean, who's the
A lot of
baby
friends
daddy?
at school, but was a really good friend when she chose to open up to someone. She also had some mental health issues and was seeing a therapist. Her mother thought it was a good idea if she found a passion and focused on it. So when Sandra expressed some interest in joining the Explorers program, her family encouraged her wholeheartedly. She would be in safe hands, right? Who better to trust than officers of the law, right?
Thank you for contributing.
Look at that. That's so cute, man. Good. Welcome in, bud. Appreciate you coming through. Right? Because you can trust cops, right? Because they're here to protect and serve. Right? Come on. Somebody agree with me here. Right? Right? Just a few bad apples, right? Okay.
Contributing to a healthy Stoughton, and we applaud your efforts.
This is Officer Robert Devine. In 2014, his account mass messaged his entire PD explicit photos of him and his mistress. Even some of the officers' spouses received these photos on their phones, though they did not work in the force. Everyone knew Robert's wife, Lisa, too. She worked at another station in a neighboring town. The information got to her really quick, and you can only imagine the attention that was on Robert that week at work. But he had a laid-back explanation. His mistress, Tiffany, was just a short fling, he said. When he had this revelation that he was married and he should end it, Tiffany decided to blackmail him by sending all of those photos from his account. He described her as crazy and put himself on a high horse, as if it was all right if it was just...
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird. It's a weird situation because historically speaking, scouting is a very conservative pastime. It's not something that most of your city dwellers get involved in, right? A few, but for the most part, it's rural kids that want to go out doing the scouting thing. You may have a few in the city, but you know what I mean. The idea of rebranding to Scouting America so that you can include girls into something that's going to take girls into the woods with boys implies that it's not going to take anyone in the woods. They're just not going to do that part no more. Dollar says you end up with Scout cookies instead.
Better than any kind of popcorn.
What? Okay,
because Boy Scouts always do popcorn and Girl Scouts do Girl Scout cookies. So
I guess I missed the popcorn. That's news to me.
They did.
Is Boy Scouts like big on popcorn or something? I don't understand.
That was their thing. Like as Girl Scout cookies are the Girl Scouts, popcorn was the Boy Scouts.
Okay. All right. I'll take your word for it. I guess I didn't really do a whole lot of scouting.
Boys, I guess, and Boy Scouts. So.
Much like P. Fletch over here, I grew up in the swamp. Like the one time I did go out with scouts.
But I'm in Texas, so it could be different.
It could be different. But the one time I did go out with scouts, here's an irony for you. Small town, right? The scoutmaster was my father-in-law 20 years later. Was my wife's father was the scoutmaster.
Or cookie dough. Yeah, Joko. Or cookie dough.
That works.
just a short thing, and he eventually realized he was married. Wait a minute, had he ever forgotten? Tiffany's friends had another story to tell. It was not a short fling, and she was not obsessed with Robert like he told his workmates. She was also not the one who sent the photos. And when the scandal broke out, she had to change her name and start afresh in a new town. She had lost her job. It's honestly infuriating how women often get punished more than men for stories like these. Tiffany had to get out of town too. Robert used his power.
All right. This woman has got some heavy vocal fry going on, and it's driving me nuts. The way she talks, she's like drawing out every other word. Anytime she stops, she has to whine a little bit. I hate it. I fucking
power as an officer to convince everyone of his word over hers. Now, all the officers in that 30,000.
Queen Kaylin, welcome in. What did I miss?
Sparkle Simp.
Oh, himself. That's right. Yeah, dude, I had something called a little chant that I can't remember who made it. I can't remember. Might have been Remington. But they made this little tiny pack rifle called a little champ that everybody thought was a toy. And I carried that thing around religiously for the longest time out in the swamps. And the look on the scouts' faces when they realized that was not a BB gun and it was not a toy. I've been at it like 9 months, be everywhere with this thing, never pulled the trigger on it once. One time I did, everybody got upset.
People town hated her or saw her as a mentally unstable person. She could get in trouble over nothing. Robert, however, kept his job. Since it wasn't illegal, his bosses figured it was just an embarrassing blotch in the Stoughton PD's history. But some sources say this department had nothing but embarrassing stories.
The stories are like plot lines pulled from an over-the-top network crime drama. A police chief accused of trying to run down a lieutenant in the town hall parking lot. Illicit photos of a deputy chief and his mistress passed among officers and their spouses. A local official so unnerved at the state of his town that he felt compelled to carry a gun, not out of fear of any would-be criminal, but of the local police force itself. Over the past 2 decades, the 60-member Stoughton Police Department has been the epitome of dysfunction, besieged by scandals that have rocked this unassuming bedroom community south of Boston, but garnered little attention outside I-495. Despite its modest size, the agency has weathered state and federal criminal prosecutions, intense infighting that has led to several civil lawsuits, and an FBI probe into public corruption. The troubles.
So this is not a happy little town.
Right.
One of them. I think it's about 3 foot long total. Mm-hmm. It has a hollow stock that you can pack slam full of little survival stuff, fish hooks, fishing line, all kinds of stuff. If you drop it in the water and you've got a good sill, the butt, it actually floats at the surface of the water. You can just pick up the butt, which is how I like to do butts.
Are so entrenched that one former Stoughton police chief, upon taking the job, suggested publicly that some of his officers were mentally unfit to carry guns. I wouldn't want to get pulled over by these guys, said Joseph Sicardo, who previously served as Stoughton's police chief in the mid-2000s. In a recent interview with the Globe, it's incestuous down there. This is the worst of small-town governments.
I didn't either.
What's up, Steve from Albuquerque?
Steve ABQ, what's up? Welcome
ABQ. In. I'm pretty sure that's Albuquerque, baby. I'm pretty sure. Steve, you're from Albuquerque. You're either from or in Albuquerque, right? Or at least named your channel after it?
Yes. I'm not disagreeing, but that's how we call him, is Steve ABQ.
Well,
that's what we call him.
All I know about Albuquerque is that Bugs Bunny took a left turn. That's all I know. What's up, Mr. Anderson? That's Mr. Anderson. Wingspan Angel. Good to see you.
Wingspan.
And if an officer says this, you can only imagine how bad it really is. This is just to establish some context for the Explorers program and the world that Sandra stepped into when she was only 13. On February 4th, 2021, the Stoughton PD got a call about a missing person. A 23-year-old teacher's assistant named Sandra Birchmore had not turned up at school. She never did that, not without notifying her bosses first. She was a very hardworking woman, and she loved her job, as far as everyone knew. She would not just miss a day to slack off. Her work.
No, slack off. No, I bet she is a fucking ton of fun in the mornings when she wakes up before her coffee. I don't know. I hate it.
Her colleague who rang the authorities that day had something else to say. She had a serious reason to get worried about Sandra's disappearance. On her last day at school, she told her, "If anything happens to be, my boyfriend is responsible." It's unclear how their conversation ended that day. I, for one, would have a million questions about that statement, but perhaps Sandra did not want to delve super deep into it. Maybe she just wasn't ready to share everything. However, she wanted someone to.
Oh, let me give that one a shout out there. This is deep Lord Sasquatch history. The PPN is the Pigpen Network. That's Fat Rock and what's his name? Fat Rock and General something or other. I can't remember the other guy's name. They're on a channel called the Pigpen. Is it the Pigpen News Network? Anyway, he goes and gets clips from shorts and TikToks and stuff, and they sit around and laugh uproariously about it. It's hilarious. I love it.
Nice.
It's good stuff.
To know what she was going through. Now, all her colleagues had was this statement, and that alone should have been a good reason for the Stoughton PD to start their investigation ASAP. However, the officers were not that worried. You see, there had just been a 4-day Category 3 blizzard in Stoughton. This meant that school was closed until February 4th, and most people stayed home, as it was simply too dangerous to drive during such a violent blizzard. So the officers' first thought was, maybe she's snowed in somewhere, or maybe she thought that school was out for the day. But Sandra's colleague was adamant. She wanted a wellness check on her friend. So that day, 3 officers visited her apartment. When they knocked on her door, there was no answer. And when they checked the uncovered parking lot outside the building, they noticed Sandra's car was the only one covered in a ton of snow. The other residents had cleaned or used their cars already. This was the US. Sandra would have taken her car to leave the apartment any of the previous days. Since her car had clearly been unused since before the storm, the officers concluded she must be inside her apartment. So why was she not answering?
I know that vocal fry is driving me nuts, bro. Like, I can't stand it. I just don't like it. I don't dig it.
When the officers entered her apartment, Sandra's 2 cats meowed desperately. They were starving, and their human mom lay dead on the bedroom floor. Her poor cats had watched her helplessly for 3 days, wondering if they would make it out alive too. Indeed, the coroner would conclude that Sandra had passed 3 days before, on February 1st. But that's not the only horror noted by the authorities. The officers wrote several disturbing clues about the tragic scene that they found that day. While Sandra's bathroom was clean and tidy, the bedroom and the living room were in deplorable states.
Okay, the reason I think it's a problem is because she doesn't typically do it. That seems to be an affectation she's attached onto her voice to do this type of work, because she doesn't have to try to drag out her vocal fry. You can hear her speak perfectly ordinarily until she reaches the end of a sentence, and probably has had to record that one a few times. And so she's making it sound extra good.
Welcome in, Freeside.
Freeside! What's up, bud? Chilling like a villain. I'm going to break this up because, dear God, that woman's driving me crazy.
There were papers, meds, and various objects lying everywhere. It looked like someone had ransacked the place looking for something. Considering how tidy the bathroom was, the officers concluded Sandra was not messy.
I mean,
or
you can speed it up, but I still want to watch it.
Still going to get annoyed. It's still, dude.
It won't be as bad, and then they'll go faster.
Chipmunk with vocal fry. Come on, man. I mean, you want to be annoyed by the chipmunk voice? Never mind.
Even more disturbingly, after her death. There were no defensive marks on Sandra's body. She had taken her own life, the coroner concluded, by speculation. She was 23 years old and she was pregnant. Needless to say, her poor baby did not make it either. This tragic case could have been closed right there and then if Sandra had done this to herself. There was no foul play, right? But even the officers, some of the officers, suspected something. So they checked the CCTV footage from her hallway. Here is Sandra on Monday, February 1st, getting delivery packages. Later on, she is seen leaving her apartment with a snow brush and a shovel. In other words, she was getting ready to clean her car and leave her house. That day, Sandra cleaned her car, but she never...
Okay, so I'm not going in on the mystery of Sandra. I'm going on the mystery of this, like, interchangeable vocal fry. She seems to do the vocal fry when she goes back and adds a clip in, right? So she's going along talking perfectly normal, and then she adds a little outside that day, or on the other side. Yeah. I just want to grab whoever told her that sounded cool and just fucking smack them around. Like, what are you thinking, dude? I bet she's a perfectly ordinary person most of the time.
Right.
Never got to drive it into town. She returned to her apartment at 5:46 p.m. Some 4 hours later, a man twice her size, whose face is completely covered, visited her, as seen on her CCTV.
Okay. Do we see anything here that tells you that's a cop?
No.
Anything at all?
No. Not that I see.
I can't even identify his race.
No.
I got nothing. White. He's white.
White, yeah, because his hands.
Caucasian, as a matter of fact.
Caucasian.
Okay, so
he was.
Let's see how this goes.
In the building for 28 minutes. And around that time, Sandra went AWOL. Her text stopped that night, and she did not return any calls afterward. There's something else. Sandra passed with her neck tied with a scarf to her bedroom doorknob. This would have been almost...
Yeah, that's a male thing. That's not a female thing.
Right.
Now, you don't find very many females due to erotic asphyxiation. That's not really a statistic. I've never heard of a statistic on that one. I could be wrong, but
almost impossible to go through with unless she was using some strong narcotics, the coroner noted. You'd have to fight your survival instincts hard to lay on the floor like that for several minutes. Except there were no drugs found in her system. Also, there were no notes. Sandra had family and friends. Why had she not announced her tragic decision to end?
Edwina, welcome in. Nicholas Paul, good to see you. Not true. Men and women genius. I'm aware that both have been found. My question is, how many of those women found were later attached to a murder? Is all I'm saying. Like, I bet you the percentage is quite a bit higher than with the old boys out there. I'm just saying, boys are willing to put up with stuff for a good one that women ain't willing to tolerate, just in general.
Anyone in her inner circle. Her loved ones were devastated, and everyone had the same thing to say. This was not her. She was expecting a child, and she was really happy about it. She'd even bought a baby chair just a few days prior from a local store. She would not have gone ahead and done this without talking to anyone about it. The forensic team took in Sandra's phone as evidence that day, and when the detectives went through it, they discovered ongoing conversations between her and 3 Stoughton officers. Robert Devine, yep, that guy, and twin...
You see that? That was a normal statement. When she said officers, she did it in any kind of strange way, but the statement immediately before that was something that was clipped into the audio file. You can hear the difference in the sound, and on those, she does this. Sorry, I'm over here dissecting a freaking sound file. I'm sorry, people. Here, y'all watch this. It'll be fun.
Brothers Matthew and William Farewell. Sandra had looked up to authority figures, especially officers of the law, since she was a little kid. Sandra had grown up with her mom, Denise, her aunt, and her grandma. There were no father figures in the picture. To Sandra, the officers she met at the Explorers program were like the fathers she never had, but they did not see it the same way. The Explorers program is designed to last 10 weeks, but Sandra was there for 6 years, from 13 going on 14 to 20 years old. Look how small she was compared.
What? Wow. Wow.
Honey.
5 years and 2 months, longer than she was supposed. Wow.
Yeah, they pulled strings to keep her around for reasons that have not, that I'm not at liberty to discuss on YouTube, really.
Oh my God.
But if you look backstage, you'll see how she looked up to him.
compared to the officers when she joined the program. And now, just consider the fact that she was groomed for years, and her 2021 baby daddy was none other than Matthew Farewell. Pause and think about that for a second. You see, Sandra was not the only one to be drawn in seriously inappropriate scenarios by...
You were screaming at me.
No, I'm just ew.
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 Say it again.
Ew.
These vile cops. After her horrifying story made headlines, some other women in Stoughton came forward and said, hey, I was an explorer too, and this happened to me. Many women would testify to Stoughton officers inviting them into their cars, going to restaurants together, and adding them on Facebook. There was a big problem though. They were 13 when this was happening. A woman Jane told an even more terrifying story. She was 12 when she joined the Explorers program, as the age was lower back then, and she developed an instant crush on Robert Devine. This was not surprising, she said. Lots of girls gravitated around him. He acted like a high school jock or a slightly older kid rather than an adult officer. He was in his 30s when this was happening. When Jane handed him a love letter telling him how much she adored him and how she dreamed of them being together, Robert hugged her as if that was normal. And when she found out Robert was dating someone else, she threw a fit. Instead of confronting her about it and setting some boundaries, Robert invited her into an empty gym, grabbed her by the waist, put her on a table, and kissed her forehead. You're a total knockout, he said. I'm definitely taking you on a date when you turn 18. Except Robert was in his 30s and married, and Jane was 12. There are so many kinds of wrong here, I can't even begin to list them. It's safe to say that this guy is a monster and had been using his...
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I want a 1 in chat if you think this is a job for a wood chipper, and a 2 in chat if you think this is a job for life in prison. Personally, I prefer the wood chipper scenario. That's just me. How do you feel about wood chippers?
I think they should be used.
They should be used, especially on wood. But there's other things that are very effective on too. Wood chippers win.
Position of power to do horrible things to little girls. And what makes this case even more tragic...
You see, the problem with the flamethrower is it requires a little more training. And if we're going to be hiring people to flamethrower things, I don't want to have to train them too much on it. Wood chipper's fairly simple. Any idiot can throw something in a wood chipper. Most of them can do it without getting sucked in themselves.
Is that in this story, there are 3 monsters, not 1. In 2016, when Sandra was 18, she lost her grandmother, mother, and aunt. First, her mother passed away after a long illness at age only 52. A month later, her heartbroken mother followed, Sandra's grandmother. Now Sandra had no immediate family. She was devastated and alone. Alone except for Robert, Matthew, and William. William was the first officer interviewed after the discovery of the many messages on Sandra's phone. He wasn't interrogated in a room. He was just asked a few questions
now
inside
I
a
can
patrol.
hear it, the sound that you're talking about. Because right there, she did like 3 or 4 of them, and so I heard.
No problem. And then suddenly one was edited in where she had vocal fry. That seemed like it was layered in on it, like she did it on purpose.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, she's got a vocal coach or something, and they told her that it sounded better to end a sentence on vocal fry when you're recording and you have a decent kind of baritone female voice, which is a high baritone at best. And they told her that if she did the Valley Girl, it would make better money on YouTube.
Brother Matthew were 25 when Sandra was 13, and she joined the Explorers program. During his casual interrogation, William said something along the lines of, yeah, I knew Sandra, but I barely interacted with her back then. When questioned a little more, he said, okay, I actually introduced her to an army friend in 2018. And when questioned even more, he revealed he'd met her at restaurants during his work shifts. But that was not the issue. The issue was he'd had intimate relations friends with her. When detectives found kinky texts between the two and showed them to William, he said, "Yes, I admit." But that didn't happen until she was at least 20 years old. And just like Robert had done with Tiffany, he had the same theory. It was only a short fling. In the end, he realized he was married and cut ties with her. By the way, even if that was the case, does he not realize the impact he has on a young person by doing that? Sandra was a person with thoughts and feelings, and a vulnerable person who was struggling with mental health and had just lost her entire immediate family. The abuse of power is sickening, and you guys, it gets worse. William said he cut ties with Sandra in June 2020. Then he said he was actually intimate with her one last time in December 2020. Then detectives discovered he was in her flat in January 2021. And the other dude, the bulky one with the hood and the face mask, that was his twin brother, Matthew. You see, it's unclear who Sandra's baby.
Ooh, honey baby.
So,
well, she went deep down the rabbit hole.
Either one of them could be the baby daddy?
If they are paternal twins, but not maternal twins, not fraternal twins. If they're fraternal twins, you should be able to tell. Brothers is real hard. Only one Y chromosome, you know. So yeah, maybe. It could cause a difficulty in trying to trace genetics. It's a difficulty.
Baby daddy was. None of the twins would admit to it, but the paternity test would turn up their DNA. The problem with identical twins is it's almost impossible or extremely costly to determine which one of the twins is the dad. And Stoughton PD wasn't willing to put that much money into it. At this point, they were still questioning the twins about texting at work. That seemed to be more of a concern to them than Sandra's death. But there was so much more to it than that. And to end that topic, here's what Distractify had to say about William Farwell.
His twin brother, William Farwell, was also a police officer, and he later began engaging in sexual activity with Birchmore no later than April 2020. This involved sending sexually explicit texts and encouraging Birchmore to have sex with other police officers.
I am speechless. And did you note that also, indeed, the main case is about Matthew Farwell? You see, Matthew was 27 when he took Sandra's virginity. Sandra was 15. To say that's illegal is an understatement. When she joined the Explorers program, Sandra was a mentally vulnerable teen who needed guidance and support. She saw these men as fathers.
She got guidance and support.
Up to them and trusted them with her life. And what did they?
There are so many horrible jokes. There's so many terrible jokes I'm not telling. There is an entire cavalcade of hilariousness that I'm just not touching with this one. You see how I did that? The not touching part. That's what you're
do with that. Today, it's believed that Matthew was Sandra's baby daddy. And on the day Sandra was last seen alive, Matthew's wife gave birth to their first child. So yeah, all of these monsters were grooming Sandra and cheating on their wives at the same time. Just let that sink in for a minute. When Matthew was interviewed, the detectives asked to search his phone. He said sure, but he deleted all his texts with Sandra. Of course, he should have known better. The detectives already had Sandra's phone searched, and they'd uncovered her conversation with Matthew. After all, it was the conversation that lasted a decade. Sandra was 13 when she met Matthew, and when his unspeakable grooming started. And she was 23 when she ended her life, or when her life was taken away from her. Matthew was also full of lies. Initially, he told detectives he'd only been intimate with Sandra a couple of times when he got intoxicated and Sandra was already 20. The same bogus story his twin brother had told the officers. And the more he was questioned.
Wow.
They're so ballsy, man. They're so ballsy. And you know for a fact that they were walking around with her on a daily basis over there. You know, and everybody's just like, oh, she's an explorer. It's fine. She wants to be a cop.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I don't think God's involved in this one.
Welcome in, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma Law. It's good to see you, bud. Appreciate you coming through. God's not here.
Right. You're right.
Okay. Because God's here. I'm not real happy with this situation in any event.
And the more he...
The point is, these cops definitely belong in the naughty corner.
Yeah.
Added details. Okay, it was actually more than a couple of times. Okay, it started a little earlier, and it goes on like that. And guess what? Matthew also blamed Sandra's pregnancy on his twin brother. They both said the baby must be the other twins. It's honestly impossible to comprehend the lack of judgment, responsibility, and common sense in these men. They were not willing to take any responsibility, and they were not willing to care for that baby or for Sandra. She was a toy to them, and it gets even more sickening when you consider these guys were twins and they were both with Sandra. And wait, it's not over. Matthew also...
I propose that is part of the plan here. That those twins had discussed the fact that it would be impossible to determine who the father was and equally impossible to determine who the killer was. And so the concept here behind it is plausible deniability. I have a genetic copy walking around right over there. The problem came up when they were both tagging the same bagging, right? So now they both have motive, opportunity, and evidence against them rather than it being a one or the other thing.
Right.
Blamed the victim, just like Robert, just like William. He said Sandra was a bit too obsessed with him. So on February 1st, that night he was seen on CCTV visiting Sandra, he broke up with her. Yep, that's his story. He broke up with her as she was a little too into him. So she decided to end her life, even though she was carrying his baby.
Anybody want to go for victim blaming for 100, Alex?
$100. That's crazy.
There are a million suspicious things about the Farwell twins, and yet, to this day, Sandra's death remains ruled as an S word. Here are a few clues to keep in mind. From 2017,
I watched a little bit of this one and then did a little bit of research behind the scenes to try to see, what's up with this case. Is it worth looking at? And this chick has decent...
I mean, that's 3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, but still.
Wow.
An S word instead of an SA word? Just saying. He just broke up with her and left. He went in there wrapped up in a mask so tight that I had to guess at his race, but...
Yeah, right? I mean, come on.
Just broke up with her. And which one was it? Which twin?
We don't know.
Oh.
to 2021, William ran 24 background searches on himself and Sandra in the criminal justice investigation system. That's an FBI criminal database, one of the most serious ones in the world. No one asked him to do this at work. Why would he look himself up? Did he expect to find a criminal investigation on himself any day? Also, Matthew visited her on February 1st during a Category 3 blizzard, hours before his wife gave birth. It seems like it was a top priority for him to see Sandra that night. I wonder why. And we haven't even spoken.
I'm just curious if his wife managed to give birth on the 1st or if it made it to the 2nd.
I don't know. But why would it matter?
Because I was born on the 2nd of February. I'm just curious. Just wondering.
Of Robert Devine yet, at least not in connection to Sandra.
When he first met 13-year-old Birchmore, Devine was in his late 30s. He too entered into a sexual relationship with Birchmore, though it didn't begin until she was in her early 20s. He denied doing so, but law enforcement found Facebook messages showing that while on duty, he discussed meeting Birchmore for sex, reported the Marshall Project.
So the Stoughton PD found out all of these things about these three men. Three men ganging up on a young, vulnerable girl, making her feel dependent on them, and then discarding her like trash. When she was found dead, all of them tried to dodge responsibility and blame the others for having more to do with her death. And they described Sandra as a simple fling that meant nothing to them. All of them were married. All of them were much older than Sandra, and all of them did something illegal. Well, several illegal things from SA to Groomed and to intimate relations with a student. And yet, there is no homicide investigation yet, even though the Stoughton PD has all of this in their record. Stoughton Chief Donna McNamara, the first woman to hold that position, was in charge of the investigation into Sandra's death.
All three men, the Farwells and Devine, violated their oath of office and should never have the privilege of serving any community as a police officer. They cultivated a web of deceit and treachery and violated the policies and the core values of the Stoughton Police Department.
She concluded.
Well, she's at least well spoken. What do you reckon happened to these guys? You reckon they're still cops somewhere?
No, I mean that's what they're saying right now. When she became chief, she put it into it.
Right, it should have been the nuclear option, in my opinion. But that's just me.
Concluded, Matthew Farwell turned in his resignation from the Stoughton PD on April 1st, 2022. His brother and Robert Devine followed shortly after. They cannot return to the force, but they're not in prison either.
That's crazy.
In December 2022, Sandra's extended family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against all three men.
Birchmore's estate filed a wrongful death lawsuit against all three former officers, in which they accused the three men of and repeated sexual assaults from a young age. The lawsuit also names the town of Stoughton and the Stoughton PD as defendants, accusing them of negligent hiring, negligent supervision, and infliction of emotional distress. All named parties deny the allegations. According to the 14-page complaint filed in Norfolk Superior Court, Birchmore had endured significant mental and emotional problems from an early age, but she deeply respected authority figures, specifically police officers, and found a sense of belonging in the Youth Explorers program, which was run by Devine. The Farwell brothers, according to the complaint, were instructors in the program and Devine's protégés.
In May 2024, some new disgusting details came forward as the lawsuit is ongoing.
According to the Globe, which reviewed a tape from a November 2023 hearing in the wrongful death suit, a lawyer for Birchmore's estate said the three former police officers passed her around like she was a toy. At least two officers, they allege, had sex with Birchmore in patrol cars when she was an adult, and also encouraged her to engage in sexual acts with others. The agency has accused William Farwell of encouraging Birchmore to secretly record her sexual encounters and send him the photos or videos, including an August 2020 photo that Post has reviewed that depicted the male genitalia of an unnamed Stoughton officer.
It cannot get more sickening. And all of this is happening in Sandra's absence. She's not here to tell the full story. She can't speak for herself anymore. Only her family and the people on the good side of the law can help her have a voice now. There is a social media page called Justice for Sandra.
What was that?
I said, wow. I mean,
yeah, no, this is, I mean, terrible people, man.
And they're not in jail.
They're not even under investigation.
Right.
Currently.
That is fucking.
Are you actually surprised, though?
Yes. On something
really?
like this. Yes. Yes. I really honestly am.
You've got brothers on the same police department. You don't expect there to be an entire blue line mentality there?
No, that don't. I mean.
Are you actually surprised?
I'm not surprised with the cops getting away with whatever. Okay, but I'm surprised about this specific scenario.
They might have to start doing that, Edwina. They might have to be able to give these young ladies a lineup to look at and see if she can identify the penetrator. Oh my God. See, I shouldn't be doing this show.
Naughty corner.
Corner. Birchmore. It has almost 5,000 members. Melissa Berry, who runs it, posted in February 2024 on the 3rd anniversary of Sandra's death.
3 years ago today, Sandra's body was found in her Canton apartment.
Welcome in, Mario. Good to see you, bud. I'm in the naughty corner. I'm not supposed to talk.
She was found in a seated position with a ligature tied around her neck. It was fastened to her closet door handle. Her death was ruled homicide. Her death is what brought forth the abuse Sandra endured. Disgraced former Stoughton police officer Matthew Farwell was the last person to see Sandra alive. She was pregnant with his baby. Many believe Sandra didn't kill herself. She was looking forward to being a mother. Sandra Birchmore deserves a full investigation into her death.
There are still
Queen Bird.
Queen Bird.
Why don't y'all all hit that Cash App at the same time? I even got a little thing over here for this type of stuff because I think they're funny. I'm gonna do this one first, just because.
Oh my God. This is so weird.
And then this one because you love it.
I gotta bounce. Thanks a lot for proving just how ugly and immature you are. It's been real. And just so you know, I don't really care about your problems.
I love that one. I still want it. I still want it.
Right. But everybody hit that Cash.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
Give me the money.
Oh man. Oh God.
All right. So what's next?
Yeah. We just skip this part because we already know she doesn't get justice. It's a horrible, terrible thing, and I hate them for it.
What's up, Gangy Kyle?
Let's see what we got over here. We've got the next one. 20 of the strangest things discovered by extras.
Every year in Canada, an average of...
Stop it. You talk.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like crazy. Some of this stuff, I was like, are you serious?
Pedal in the rectum.
Number 20, pestle in the rectum. As culinary tools, pestles are appropriate only for the kitchen, perhaps the garage or the attic. They most certainly have no place in a person's rectum. Even though we are aware of this, one woman missed the memo as she tried to pass.
What up, Yankee Kyle?
And then to go through, like, why? I mean, look, if you wanted to put one up your right, like for a kink or something, but why are you going to try to travel with it in your rectum? What?
I wonder if maybe there's other things involved that aren't mentioned in these videos, because I mean,
don't know, but
honestly, the pestle is kind of on the low end of this. I bet it had pepper on it.
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Do you reckon she had a dommy daddy? You reckon this is what was up? I'm so confused. Did he have a dommy daddy? I don't know. I might be a little horny.
Through airport security with the culinary tool safely ensconced. She obviously didn't go very far. The metal detector went off because of the pestle, and after several searches turned...
All right, first of all, you're using a crappy pestle if it's metal.
I mean, aren't they usually stone?
Yeah.
Or ceramic?
Ceramic. There's several, but metal is one of those. So, I mean, whatever, man. Whatever.
Turned up nothing. Security used an X-ray to find the unusual object. She was brought into a different room and given the X-ray. When they saw the pestle inside, they were all surprised and a little alarmed. What's shocking is how long she had had that pestle up in her butt that she felt comfortable enough to go around with it. Anyways, after being turned away from the flight, a trip to the hospital was arranged so that the kitchenware could be removed from her. Number 19, SpongeBob.
Oh my gosh. Shout out to Queen Bird, $5 make a holla.
Yay, whoop, whoop. No, you do it right. You're supposed to tell me about it, and then we do it this way.
What? Oh, shout out to Queen Bird, $5 make a holla.
Yeah, good girl. Now, we move on with the rest of the show. SpongeBob. Why? What is wrong with people?
No, this one.
2004 and 2015, SpongeBob ventured out of Bikini Bottom to explore the surface and become entangled in the esophagus of an enraged toddler. After
I mean, look,
seriously?
Can we just skip this?
No, well, I mean, we can. But justice puts everything in her mouth. Everything. Like last week, her earring went missing. I was freaking out thinking that she swallowed it. I mean, we found it later that day, but it was like, oh my God. Yeah.
I got a toddler story for you. And it's not about her stuffing things in her mouth. You've heard the pepper story. Same kid. Okay. Same kid. My niece is 2 or 3 and she can barely talk. And she keeps telling everybody, or 4, and still can barely talk. And she keeps telling everybody she has a bee in her ear. For a couple of years, as soon as she learned the word bee, he told everybody she had a bee in her ear and it itched. And you look in her ear, there's nothing in her ear. There's nothing there. Okay. You got a bee in your ear. What a weird thing to say. So I'm laying in the recliner sleeping one afternoon, and she comes in there and pokes me, wakes me up. I'm like, "What's up, baby?" And she holds up this tiny little bead. She said, "What is this?" That is a bead. I have a bead in my ear. And then she turned around and walked off. And I sat there for a second, pulled my phone out, called my brother because it was her daughter. It was like, "I believe we need to take your daughter to the hospital. I believe she has a bead in her ear." He's like, "Nah, she says she has a bead in her ear all the time." I said, "No, sir. She just brought me a bead, asked me what it was, and then pointed at her ear and says, 'I have a bead in my ear.'" And then she walked away.
Wow.
I'm going to take her to the ER. We're going to see if there's something actually in her ear. And sure as shooting, she had an identical bead, the one she had brought me, stuck in one of her ears. Wow. And it had been there for however long. What's funny is you couldn't see it when you looked in, shine a light in there, kind of drag it
It was
around.
down in there.
Yeah. It was in there for sure.
Brought to the hospital. The physician had him undergo an X-ray to see what was maybe one of the strangest things ever found. The X-ray showed SpongeBob SquarePants from the hit television program of the same name, looking as plain as day and grinning in a way that was almost menacing. The doctor was so taken aback that her only thought at the time was to yell, "SpongeBob!" Naturally, it was a tiny toy that belonged to the toddler's sister rather than the actual fry cook sponge. He was returned home with his parents, worry-free, after the doctor worked quickly to remove the toy from his throat. Regarding SpongeBob and what transpired following the incident, nothing was said. Number 18.
This one blows my mind.
Most people eat 0 pieces of silverware in their lives, but
would you like to vent?
This one is crazy. Crazy. Like no way in freaking hell. And then oh my
God. No, so right. You're saying that these other people were sane?
No, this one's a trip. This one.
We'll see.
A Dutch woman visited her doctor because of a problem that indicated she was different from most people. A 52-year-old patient in the Netherlands informed medical staff that she had a quite unpleasant stomach when she arrived at the hospital. To further understand what was hurting her, they put her under an X-ray, and what they discovered was one of the oddest things ever found using X-ray technology. They discovered several pieces of silverware within the woman's tummy. Fortunately, there were only spoons and forks in her stomach among the...
Was it actual silver is my question, or was it like crappy reprints?
It doesn't matter.
It does a little bit. I mean,
forks.
I hear you. She was
like
stealing
all spoons, even all spoons. Maybe I could be like, but why would you do forks? I mean,
how do you? I don't even want to know.
I don't know.
Dude, do you realize what kind of a skull?
I'm just like gagging, trying to think about
silverware.
It.
No knives. Not like either of them are good anyways. After rushing the woman into surgery, the physicians were able to have them removed through much care and diligence. This peculiar situation was explained by the woman's peculiar and intractable fixation on eating cutlery whenever she sat down to a meal. Psychologists speculated that she might have had multiple personality disorder, which would explain why resisting the impulse to eat the utensils was so difficult for her. She underwent surgery successfully and recovered well from the operation.
I'm not actually convinced that MPD is an actual thing. I have dealt with some really, really heavily schizophrenic people, and you might swear they are different people, but that's all trash. They know what they're doing. They just don't care and can't care and have no concept of the concept of caring, right? So when one of these people's cheese slides off their cracker, they just go off the deep end immediately and go, "Oh, I have MPD." No, you're psycho.
I mean, I'm sure there are ones that claim it that aren't it, but it is an actual thing.
Well, the thing is I've never encountered someone that has a full on and understand. My best bud Lonnie had full pedigree papers on how nuts he was.
Right.
Like 15 pages of documentation on the different schizoaffective disorders that he distributed amongst his personality.
Right.
So, like, everyone else had their shit way better together and were way nuttier, if you get what I'm saying. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm saying.
I think you. I don't know. I'm not agreeing with you right now, but
you're not agreeing. Okay, folks, you hear that? No more agreements.
Number 17, bobby pins in the kidney.
Ow.
Bobby pins are easy to lose, as anyone with long hair can attest. They seem to be everywhere you look, but not where you are looking. There are occasions when
there's only one way that gets in there.
Right.
You didn't drink it in a bottle of water.
Find them on the ground or in your automobile. You may locate them in your kidney in some unusual circumstances, as it was for a 4-year-old child who had complained of stomach pain to his parents. The youngster had been telling his parents that something was bothering him for months, but they didn't seem to be able to fish out what the exact issue was. Finally, it required 2 trips to the hospital to identify the cause of his discomfort. Following the boy's X-ray, the boy's doctors uncovered something that could only be characterized as one of the many bizarre objects that X-rays have revealed. A bobby pin stuck in the boy's kidney was found. The bobby pin had sharpened and corroded from the acids in the boy's stomach, piercing his kidney. The boy reported to have swallowed it a month before his pain started. Fortunately, they were able to remove it without any more issues, and he was discharged home within a few days. Number 16.
That's beautiful, dude. I've been going back over a whole bunch of the old module books, like Keep It the Borderlands, Against the Giants, White Plume, Tomb of Horrors, all kinds of stuff. Dude, all right. So this is one of those change my mind moments, right? The original creator of Dungeons and Dragons made like 15 or 16 handmade modules that were specifically designed, according to him, to be played through by a party from level 1 all the way through to what he referred to as crafting out, where these players no longer are viable as players and have now become NPCs and become, you know, people in the world that you're DMing. There's one particular dungeon called the Tomb of Horrors that was very last module released by Gary Gygax, the original creator of these things. And while his name is attached to other modules, his involvement in those other modules was quite limited. He wasn't really interested and didn't really bother, but sure, go ahead and use my name type stuff. There was a couple that he actually he got more involved in, but I propose that the Tomb of Horrors was the DM's last chance to kill everyone in the party, or to kill the main characters and allow the ones that were still low enough level to escape. Because virtually every trap in this place is either an insta-kill or puts you back at the beginning of the dungeon. And only the DM knows how that works. There is one door in this place.
The hell don't. I mean, I don't know what
it's so retarded. There is one door in this place that you have to discover that is actually a painting of a door on a wall. But in order to find the secret door in the painting, you have to peel the plaster off the wall of the door that's painted on the wall so that you can access the secret button to open the door that was painted on the wall that was not actually a door until you remove the plaster. It's designed to kill people.
Yeah. Okay.
That's its purpose.
Scissors. Although it's often claimed that laughter is the best medicine, in the strange and somewhat incredible example of a guy in China, laughter was actually the source of his suffering. This peculiar X-ray discovery described a man who had just concluded a supper with his companions. Then he thought of substituting a toothpick with the nearest available item, a 4-inch scissors. One of his friends spoke that made him laugh so much and feel it.
What? 4 inches? But I mean, how did it fall in his mouth? I mean, that. I don't know.
As though he was going to die as he was cleaning his teeth. A short while later, he was brought to the hospital. The physicians discovered that, in the most conventional sense, he was a physician. He ended up swallowing the scissors after they made him chuckle. He made an attempt to cough them up, but it didn't help. When the individual arrived at the hospital, medical professionals noticed that he was having trouble swallowing, and his spit had started to mingle with his blood. After bringing him to the doctors, they performed a startlingly quick 30-minute surgery to remove them. The 9 centimeters Lind and 4 centimeters wide scissors was removed using vessel forceps under locations.
I don't care. Cans. Really? People, you don't have to. You're crushing my soul with this, man. Like, every shred of dignity the humanity once had is being just lost on this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the degradation of the entire human race by these individuals who belong in the naughty corner. Definitely, because this lady was having far too much fun with her cans.
Number 15, cans in rectum.
I mean, like,
cans are kept in an absurd number of locations. Some store their cans in the garage, some in their backyards. But the most unusual way to store cans has to be something that was found via X-ray. A middle-aged patient with a stomachache had come to the emergency department. After taking an abdominal radiograph, no obstruction was visible. The patient was taken to the operating room and given their permission for a gastrointestinal surgery, where the can was initially found within 12 hours of their presentation. The unpleasant portion of the task was completed, and the can was removed successfully. Luckily, the patient did not sustain any serious injuries that required healing.
That didn't look like no damn can. That looked like a thermos. I mean, the picture of it, you know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't look like your average can.
I don't know what to tell you. This is an AI generated thing.
They were shit canned.
We're skipping that one. I'm not interested in that no more. We're gonna let's see. Safety pins. Didn't we just do a safety pin one?
No, we did, Bobby.
The most replayed part is forceps. What do you reckon? Left in after
Number 13. Pair of forceps in patient's stomach. The majority of the time, visiting a hospital is prompted by pain. However, in the instance of this peculiar object identified,
you got the participation award.
Discomfort was brought on by visiting the hospital. A 33-year-old female patient had visited the renowned Nizam Institute for surgery. After the procedure, everything appeared to be resolved. However, she began to have intense aches in her abdomen that would not go away. She decided to return to the hospital to lodge her complaint.
Because they left a barbecue sandwich in you, bitch. That was also in there next to the forceps. Homie was eating his lunch while he was doing the surgery and just didn't feel hungry when he finished it. It's like that 10 millimeter that you always lose. You hope it's not going to do any real damage. Oh my God. This guy popped the hood and left his tools in it.
I mean, oh my God.
Complaints, and on getting there, the physicians immediately identified the issue after having her undergo an X-ray. With immediate effect, she was sent back into surgery, and the hospital assured the media that she was their primary concern, and that's why they were prompt with responding to her. Apparently, they found a set of surgical forceps in the patient's stomach, which were probably left there by the last doctor who had operated on her. This explains why they moved so.
So like me coming out of surgery My first thought is I need a CAT scan. I need an X-ray. I want to make sure you didn't leave your car keys.
Right. Right.
I mean, I guarantee you there'd be a club sandwich in my ass. They give me half a chance. Like, I mean, oh God, why are people so horrible? Why are they all so
quickly to bring her into surgery? Her spouse, however, had registered a formal complaint against the two physicians concerned. Number 12, Nokia's 3310 phone. The rumor that Nokia phones are unbreakable has long been around, and this unusual incident might demonstrate how accurate it is.
So, it just occurred to me, it's almost impossible to fuck up a Nokia, but it's even more difficult to unfuck one.
Oh my God.
Complaining of pain, a man had attended the hospital and was shown to the X-ray room. There they submerged him beneath the apparatus and saw what was clearly a Nokia 3310. Anything like that might...
And I immediately
had one of them. They were undestructible. I mean, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And I immediately texted him. What's your number? You're gonna love this. You remember how hard them things used to vibrate?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you could set that thing on the table in another room, you'd hear that sucker through the wall. Through the floor. You gonna love this.
Wind up in a man's life was beyond the comprehension of everyone in the room. Even the man with the phone stuck inside him was unable to provide an explanation for how it got there. The pressure...
I mean, that's crazy.
That's not a true statement. That man was unwilling to provide an explanation for how it got there. You reckon he owes somebody money and he didn't answer the phone?
Brandon, is that like for real or are you joking? Like, is that a person?
I've been wondering where he was. I haven't seen Auditing While Black for a minute.
Well, prayers.
Prayers, man.
Way to dampen our laughter, Brandon. Thanks.
Yeah, way to just come in and crush a stream.
Go to the naughty corner.
With all 5 of our dedicated viewers.
Naughty corner.
Naughty corner. And we're discussing how this man.
No, but seriously, prayers. My bad. Go ahead.
For the real.
I got to. Okay.
So I'm figuring he owed somebody money. He was supposed to call somebody. That's what I think.
And they shoved it down his mouth.
They shoved it up his other end.
Oh.
It's
Where is it? I mean, I saw the picture, but did they specify?
It's
up the rectum?
Yeah, up the colon, deeply in the colon. Like way far. Like somebody used something else to push it further in there. I'm telling you, I'd still text him immediately. I'd be like, "What's your number, bud?"
Explanation for how it got there. The pressure had split the phone into 3 parts, so they didn't need to conduct extensive surgery, but problems persisted.
Bro, his ass broke a Nokia.
Wow.
I'm telling you, it was not willingly placed in there. That was put in there with intent.
I mean,
how else? I'm talking a pair of tongs and some serious jelly, right? A pair of tongs, some grape jelly. That'll work. That's why it was broken, because he was trying to get it out with like a pair of pliers or something.
I don't know. I mean, they said pressure, but
Otherwise,
under pressure.
But listen,
looking
dude,
down on
you
me.
won't believe it. Not for a second, man. That's a Nokia.
I
The sun itself can't destroy those things. But you expect me to believe this man's butthole did?
Maybe.
Maybe a very angry man broke the Nokia, then shoved it up his butt.
See, I was going a little bit more like that because the way that it was broke up, it was almost like when you take off the faceplate. Because those are the ones that you could change the faceplate, wasn't it? Like switch out the faceplates.
Maybe. I don't know. There's a few of those.
Chippy Toe, welcome in.
Because of the chemicals it carried, the phone's battery had slid out of the rear, which posed a serious risk, but thankfully it hadn't corroded yet. After putting him under anesthesia, they extracted the phone's remaining components and battery from his stomach. It was surprisingly still recognizable, though it appeared to have only been dropped a couple of times. The man was restored to his normal, healthy state and lived his life as usual. Number 11. Bottle in a Man. Though a little less awesome.
What? Wow. Wow. Why do people want big old things up there?
Do not. Do not.
I mean,
do not search this on any of those their prawn sites, y'all folks. Y'all dirty people get involved with. Do not. Do
yeah,
not.
he slid it in the rear.
It's a prison pocket.
Bottle in a Man is somehow even more fascinating than ships in a bottle. This assertion was validated when X-Ray
like
in China found the
stuff
odd
in
object.
prison. Is that what you mean? Okay. Okay.
The phone's battery had slid out of the rear.
It looked like a Snapple bottle, Queen Bird. It did look like a Snapple bottle.
Jeebus.
The individual claimed to have stomach issues when he checked himself into the hospital.
You think?
He was brought by the doctors for evaluation because he didn't consider things carefully. They discovered that the troubles the patient was experiencing were not the same as their own. His problem was
look, look. This is probably a little TMI, but hold up. You know, wait a minute. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. Because anytime something goes in, my body naturally pushes it out. So
determination. Flow State has something he says. He says anything's a dildo if you're brave enough. I don't particularly agree with him. I think some things should be verboten, like pepper grinders. This is not a thing that should be utilized.
I mean, they'd have to, I don't know, sedative something to relax.
Nothing at all in a spice rack should be involved. I mean, like car equipment, certain types of car equipment, like turtle wax. This is not a sexual activity. These are not things that should be involved in coitus.
Cornholio.
I am the great Cornholio.
Bottle lodged in his lower bottom, not his stomach. The fact that the bottle wasn't the only one inside made things worse for the man.
What?
He also found that a section of steel wire was circling around.
Well, that's because the steel wire around the bottle, thinking he'll be able to pull it out, and it sucked all the way in and took the string with it.
There's something wrong with you.
Oh my god, that shit's funny, dude.
I wonder if he bothered explaining himself at all, or if he just showed up, just stared him down. It was just like pulled a Richard Gere. No explanation whatsoever. Just get the dead gerbil out of my ass.
Right? He'd be walking around. I got a 6-pack. You just can't see it.
Dude. Oh my Lord. That one time at band camp.
Oh my Lord.
Pretty good.
Yes, Edwina, like a tampon string. He was hoping to pull that shit out.
Apparently, the man had but the bottle up there by himself before he got stuck. It appears that in a frenzy, The man snatched up a piece of steel wire and attempted to fish the bottle out, but it only ended in more complications. Naturally, it had the opposite effect and made matters worse.
Oh my
The
God.
man was immediately brought to the operating room, where attempts were made to get the bottle out. Both the wire and the steel wire were removed in one piece.
That makes no sense. If they went in as two pieces, no way.
He's saying, notice he said wire and steel wire, so they're two different wires.
No, that was a mistyping for an AI. Sure? A bottle and wire came out in one piece.
Okay, but he just said
it. Just stop it.
Okay.
Number 10, light bulb.
Oh, there you go. There's your light bulb.
Like, I remember that whole conversation that took place on the other side of that curtain.
Yeah.
And her whispering to the chick, blah, 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 right up there, blah, 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 mumble, 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 a whole light bulb, mumble, mumble, mumble. Then it broke, mumble, mumble, mumble. Now he's here in room 3. and I just pulled the thing back and looked at her. It was like, are we talking like a floodlight or a Christmas tree light? And she just screamed laughing and ran out of the ER. Oh. She sprinted. But I had that effect on people. Because I was like, floodlight or Christmas tree light?
I mean, there's
Many people find it unsettling to consider the possibility of inadvertently placing.
What up, Jeff? That's my other baby daddy right there.
Oh, see, like that is being swallowed, so it'd have to be.
I hear what you're saying, but
West Side in the house.
Either his colon has an idea, or and stick with me on this one. He's been playing bad games with bad people, or even alone.
A light bulb in their mouth and discovering they can't take it out without being hurt. However, an X-ray finding revealed that the mouth is the second worst site for a light bulb to become stuck.
That's second. So where's the first? I guess the buttonhole.
Yeah, all right. So I hate people. You're sitting around with a light bulb, and somehow it occurs to you that this should be inside of you, and you either put it in your mouth or your prison pocket. And then you go to the hospital to have it removed.
I mean, I think they were playing, or trying to do a trick.
But yeah, no, I think it was a $5 bet. I can definitely put a light bulb in my mouth.
A light bulb moment.
He won, by the way.
Oh yes, tell Mama Bear happy birthday, Jeff. Happy
Absolutely.
birthday.
Tell Mama Bear much love from Sasquatch. Don't tell her about AJOT. She doesn't need to know. So like I said, it was a $5 bet.
He's on my channel. Okay. Let's go.
$5 bet, and he won it.
Maybe.
It did involve the art. Yeah, he was like, hold my beer. I can do this. That's how that happened, right?
I mean,
so he's like, nah, dude, I can fit that whole thing in my mouth. No way. Think, okay. Hey, let's get in the car. I'm going high. Why? I can't get it out.
Oh, if it broke.
Man in Colombia walked shamefaced into the hospital TMJ? And told the staff he was having problems.
What?
The man wasn't discovered to be.
You ever have TMJ?
TMJ.
I don't remember it's a muscle over here that if it gets out of place, you can't close your mouth.
Oh no. Lockjaw?
They call it lockjaw. That's a disease. That's a totally different thing. But yeah, your jaw locks open. It's wild.
I mean,
You know how hard
sure
it is
their
to walk
partner
in?
had a good time. Yeah.
I'm just saying, you know how hard it is to walk in and tell a doc, they're like, ha,
A little wider. A little wider. Wider.
And they're like, what? It's bad. It's not good. I don't like it.
Be dead until they looked at him more closely. They learned how unpleasant this suffering was. After doing a rectal check and finding nothing, they decided to take him through an X-ray to see what was causing the discomfort, which turned out to be a light bulb inserted into the man's butt. The question of how the light bulb got up there was never answered, and we're sure the doctors were too scared to inquire. Nonetheless, the doctors stated that they have...
To be honest, I don't think these are the right doctors.
How would it not bust? I mean, if it can bust a Nokia or whatever phone, and the other
I'm telling you, that phone did not break inside that man unless it was broken by something else inside that man at the time. That is all I'm going to say on that at this point. I'm just saying, there's no way that Nokia went in there voluntarily.
Yeah.
No way.
Have retrieved quite a number of odd objects from people's butt, people who were trying to achieve some sexual desires. This light bulb seemed to, however, be a crazy idea that they have never come across before. By some miracle, they were able to remove the light bulb from the man's posterior without causing any harm.
I try not to cuss, but
although their method of operation was not confirmed, it had to have been somewhat drastic. Number 9.
I guarantee you, every single ER worker in America has a light bulb story.
Maybe.
All of them.
Is Michelle still around? Does she have a light bulb story?
She claimed to have a light bulb story, yes. Like, she's got stories. I don't know. She didn't specify light bulb, but yeah, I was talking about a light bulb at the time. And,
my 49. 49
of me being present when someone did such a thing in an ER implies that it's statistically more common than you would expect.
A light bulb.
40 knives. The typical person eats the foods cut by the table knife and not the knife itself, but an Indian guy broke that record by an astounding margin, making his discovery one of the most bizarre items ever found using X-ray technology. Upon initial X-ray...
You go to the naughty corner. Go. No, sir. Bad habit.
Bad habit. Go to the naughty corner. Go.
And you get a participation trophy for your time. Thank you.
Examination. The medical professionals believed the large mass in the man's abdomen to be a potentially deadly growth or tumor. They concluded after doing more research that what they were seeing was a massive pile of knives that had been consumed. This man had for the past 2 to 3 months consumed the knives. The reason for this bizarre behavior is still unknown, but he claimed to have a strong desire to swallow metal. The surgery was conducted and 28 knives were taken out of him.
Andy, I thought of the same thing. That was exactly the luckiest man on earth, because they'd have rolled his ass into an MRI. They'd have found out there were knives. Real quick, like. Yeah.
After the man was first operated on, additional inspections were carried out, and more blades were discovered within. Hence, there was need to have another procedure. A second surgery was carried out on him, and an additional 12 knives were taken out of this guy. After all was said and done, the man had consumed...
I figured it out. Deadpool is messing with him.
I mean, that's weird. How is that possible without you not dying?
Hey, you'd expect some kind of heavy metal poisoning or something. I mean, something.
Magneto versus Wolverine.
40 knives in a span of months.
Welcome in, Joker.
Hey, you got to keep this in mind now. After the adamantine, Magneto could stop Wolverine, but that was about it. He could shake him up real hard and snatch the skin off of him and all his muscles and everything. But the second Wolverine, that Magneto walked far enough away from Wolverine for him to not be actively killing him, Wolverine would regenerate and get really, really mad. Really, really bad. So, I mean, and Magneto had to know he was there, but he could sense him coming because of the adamantine on his bones. I've read way too many comics, too.
Some of the knives were foldable ones that when stretched out were as long as 7 inches. Some were broken, while some were rusting already. The surgeries had to be done with utmost care in order to avoid causing more damage to man. This revelation was unlike anything the doctors, one of whom had worked for more than 20 years, had ever seen. He recovered well and was referred to see psychiatrists. Number 8, spoon in the throat.
No. Not that one.
That doesn't look like a spoon in the throat.
It's not. We're going to talk about the fish instead.
Number 7, fish. While fish in the body isn't usually the most bizarre thing ever, it is weird to find a full living fish on an X-ray. Anil Barella, a 12-year-old, was one such person. The youngster and his friends spent most of their leisure playing games and exploring like any other youth their age. Anil has complained of experiencing short breaths, panting, and getting tired easily when he was taken to the hospital. On arrival, he was assessed and was put under the machine for radiological examinations.
All right, here's what actually happened. He realized he was going in to get an X-ray, and he went and got a goldfish and drank it, and went into the hospital to go get the X-ray and went, I don't know what happened.
No.
This sounds like a drinking bet to me. That's what this sounds like.
But it was a kid. I don't know.
Whatever, man. This is an AI generated thing. I doubt any of these things actually happened.
Oh, I'm going to look it up now.
Go ahead.
All right.
The X-ray of the small child who had trapped a live fish inside his lung astounded the doctors.
Okay, that's a twist I didn't see coming. You can't park that there, mate.
Anil's breathing has become more difficult as a result of the fish. After he was taken to the emergency...
Did somebody try to drown his ass in an aquarium? Like, what? Never mind. He owed somebody money, too.
department. The fish was removed from him through 45 minutes of surgery. The fish was described to be scaly and about 3.5 inches long. It was also observed to be taking its last breaths when it was removed from the young boy's lungs. It really put up a good fight. Dr. Pramod Jawar, who performed the surgery, explained that in the past 2 decades of his practice, he had never seen a thing such as this before.
Tell you, he owed the wrong kid money.
Oh, too funny.
When he gets out of the hospital, he's going to pay that kid, too. Watch. Are you not entertained?
Entertained I am.
The strange X-ray was explained by the fact that he and his friends were playing with fishes on the banks of a river in the Kargoni area of the Madhya Pradesh state when he unintentionally breathed in the fish. Live fish was something Anil and his friends used to enjoy eating, but this time, the fish went into his left lung through his...
Stop it. Just...
windpipe instead of down his esophagus. Most certainly, Anil wouldn't have an appetite for anything relating to seafoods in a while. Number 6, 2-kilogram dumbbell stuck in rectum.
People sticking stuff up their booty.
No, we're going to the next one. I can't do this anymore. I have lost all faith in humanity. I hate you all equally.
Oh
my God. Why do you do this to me? I blame you entirely.
They like it in the booty, in the booty, in the booty. They like it in the booty.
Stop it. Some help.
No, I really didn't. I made the sound, Edwina, but I didn't.
Okay, so the choice is between when cops realize they have to arrest their partners from Agent Martin and 30 silliest picture trucks of all time.
Or what?
30 silliest pickup trucks of all time.
Let the chat decide. Put a 1 in the chat if you want to see cops arrest their partner. Put a 2 in the chat if you want to see trucks. Funny trucks of all time. 1 or 2 or 1 or 2 or 1.
And
I am
until we get an answer, we're going to go with Trooper Bird's greatest hits from Route 33.
Welcome to the all-time best.
Right. I don't know who Trooper Bird is. We're fixing to find out.
Jacob Bird.
Jacob Bird. 1 1 1 1 1.
1 2.
1.
Okay. So
there's Trippy Total Truck. I'm just kidding.
Right. That was truth. You're so funny.
Havoc is the cops arresting partners of short.
Yeah, you figured you'd be able to fit all of them within like 30 seconds or so, right?
Yeah.
Coming on.
Home Cuz has it stretched out to 24 minutes. I got the hiccups. Why'd you do that?
Home Cuz.
Yeah, this dude here. I got the hiccups still. That's a problem.
The Frogzilla.
When those who are responsible for law and order get involved in the heinous acts themselves, they are
Sorry. My wife seems to have lost a dog or something.
No, you're good.
Oh, yeah, he locked himself in the bathroom back there. He does that every now and then.
no longer the same.
My safe word is harder.
Savior. Let's see how law enforcement officers have arrested those who have tried to be dishonest with their duties. In November 2023, a security guard was
actually the only correct answer to what's your safe word is. There are no safe words in Orcish.
accused of pulling over an off-duty NMSP captain. State police were called to assist the captain, who reported a security guard trying to pull him over on Interstate 40.
How you doing, sir? Officer Galliano, State Police. Who are you with? Teal. Do you have your identification card and everything? I'm sorry to bother you, but
this guy's been following me.
And so I know who it is.
Okay.
So I understand you were slowing traffic down on the highway?
No.
The security guard was identified as Ronald Portillo, and he could have cooperated with the cops and resolved the matter, but he refused their request instead and kept making things more difficult for himself.
Have your driver's license, sir?
I'm not giving it. You have that.
Okay. Well,
I'm in charge of this right now.
Okay. You're in charge of what?
I'm charged of this property and other property.
Okay, and that's fine. But over there on the highway, where you lit up cars or you were using your car like a police car.
There's no proof.
Okay. I'm investigating
There's
something.
no proof.
And if you refuse to give me your driver's license,
bro. I bet he was turned down for being a cop. He tried to be
probably
somehow psychological problems. I bet you. Paul Blart. This is RoboCop, but Paul Blart.
I can detain you and arrest you.
Okay, detain me.
Okay.
Well, the guard got exactly what he wanted as he was arrested.
Right.
Who knew the situation would escalate this far?
You say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney will be provided for you. You have the right to suck my left nut and make my right nut jealous. You have the right to suck on these nuts.
Is it recording on the highway?
I love me some hairy nuts.
Yes, sir. Because I didn't break the law.
Yes, sir.
No, sir. I didn't.
What was that about hairy nuts?
I said I love me some hairy nuts.
I got a soft spot for hairy nuts myself.
Back to you.
I have a bad back.
The officer spoke to the off-duty captain and asked him to recount the whole incident. Little did they know, a moment of astonishment was about to unfold.
So, whenever he was over there, and I was just like, I was sure, like, I didn't want to make him, like, obviously I was tailing him all the way around the building.
Welcome back, Crafty.
The captain told the guard that he was an NMSP officer. The guard felt that he had the right to stop anybody and considered himself a law enforcement officer.
I told him, hey man, stop, whatever. And then like I told him, hey man, New Mexico State Police. That's whenever I identified myself. And he said, show me your badge. It's in my truck. Yep. I can't get it right now. Like, I'm letting you know verbally, I am New Mexico State Police. Go and stop. He said, I don't care. I don't care. Yeah. He goes to continue to back up. I told him, just stop. I have the state police officers on the way. They're coming right now. And he refused. But the biggest issue is, like, and that was his whole thing. I'm on private property. The interstate wasn't private property.
You did that on private, or on the state highway.
And that's what I kept telling him. And he referred to, and he said he owns this. Like, dude, I don't care. Like, that was the interstate. So traffic's backed up. He's causing me to back up because he's staying in the left-hand lane right at like 64, 65-ish. And I go to pass him on the right. As soon as I go to pass him, he turns on all of his lights. And that's whenever I see for the first time he has blue lights in his front visor. And then, so my initial reaction, because I was like, bumper to bumper, pretty much, back bumper to front bumper, is I hit my brakes and go to pull over. But as soon as I do that, he shuts them all off. It's like, okay.
The captain's revelation sent a shiver through the officer as he followed the guard. If you think that things ended here, you might be wrong, because he decided to do something horrible.
Once he realized I was staying behind him, and there was, you can't even say I was tailgating him, there was a black vehicle in between us, and he hits the lights again, like, and that's whenever I see the red lights in the back, and then he turns them off, like multiple times. He's just like using that his lights as like back away from me type of thing, like we do. Yeah,
like we do.
And started fucking getting close. I asked him
rules for thee, not for me.
ID. So I started backing up. I don't know what his problem is, but he followed me. They tailgated me. You guys.
The officers were trying to get the motive behind switching on and off of lights and attempting to pull the captain over.
Okay. So when he started coming up towards me, then I went towards him and saw what the problem is, because you didn't know. He didn't identify himself.
I don't think that he was trying to pull the captain over. I bet you he was trying to get through traffic like I've seen cops do.
It could go either way.
I mean,
he looks like a sheepdog. He's going full sheepdog. What you reckon? Never.
I don't know.
Never go full sheepdog, bro. Yes, I am trimming my thumbnail.
That was it. Nothing wrong. I have nothing to worry about. At that point, you are obligated to provide. Am I in this? Sure. Okay.
What is that? I mean, that just looks so funny.
So I had a guy.
We didn't accuse anything.
Right.
We had just started. We need to identify who you are.
Okay.
And
Well, I apologize then. Yeah. The reason, as I'm talking to you right now, I want you to understand who I am. Okay, and you're obviously detained. Okay, so I am the captain of New Mexico State Police in Albuquerque. Okay. So you're 100% crystal. The issue behind all of this is like you acted in a way that made that you were Romeo County Sheriff's Department whenever you were on the highway. That's the problem.
All right. Let's go a little further.
The problem is you're not part of our gang and you're pretending to be.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You stepping on our territory.
Mm-hmm.
What you reckon?
Oh, I reckon.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if I can find the next one.
Be charged with, but this next cop was found drunk on duty.
Drunk on
duty.
duty.
On July 4th, a police officer with the Apopka Police Department named Mayorga was arrested for suspected DUI while in his patrol vehicle and with his uniform on. The interrogating officer carefully probed by asking him different questions.
He said, no. He's like, to be honest, in our profession, honesty goes a long way. He said, I'm going to be honest, I had 3 Benadryl. I was like, okay, when did you have that? It's about 2 hours. I'm like, why would you take 3 Benadryl knowing you had to go into work tonight?
Teachers every like 2 or 3 months. Yeah.
Officers stressing the importance of truthfulness. Mayorga's response about alcohol and medication added an unexpected layer to the unfolding mystery.
Does your medication say not to drink and take it? Does it say not to mix it with alcohol? Yeah. When's the last time you took your medicine? 4 days ago.
However, he later confessed to drinking 3 tall boys or 24-ounce cans. As soon as they learned about his suspicious acts, the officers called the sergeant.
He's refusing medical, and he refused that. Yeah, he had.
He's like, I'm fine.
He's refused that.
I'm good.
Now I don't know if you saw his laptops all on the floorboard.
Looks like it.
Upon investigation, it was found that the Apopka officer lived nearby and was going to City Park 441.
Imagine having a drunk cop running a sobriety test on your ass.
Right?
You're
Oh
pulling
my
over on the
goodness.
side of the road. This guy can't even speak straight.
Lightweight.
Classy. Lightweight.
He said that he's going in 441 in New York City, but he's told Rovercheck that he's on his way to work. Yeah. All right. He said he was on his way to work, but I think he's on his way to work. If he's on his way to work, then he's in.
The officer was arrested under suspicion of DUI and booked into the Lake County Jail. According to the Apopka police, Mayorga, the police officer, had been placed on administrative leave without pay, pending a review of the incident. When it
Go
comes
to the naughty
upholding
corner,
the law,
sir.
no one is exempted, not even those who made it.
Hey, Far, watch him. I'm going to walk over there.
Uh-oh. We got problems. We have a
What?
double bald police alert.
Oh.
We have 2 individuals bald and frame. This one actually has a little bit of hair over here, but this one's dome is absolutely immaculate. I do believe I can see some glare on one side from the mute button.
Little bit.
Yep.
Got that shine.
Yeah, because you have these guys right here.
On November 13th, 2023, Mr. Free received a call from the FAA in the Northwest Mountain Regional Office in Washington about the rude behavior of the federal employees.
Well, if my last name was Free, I'd have some of the best pickup lines
Taking
on earth.
pictures of.
Anybody else, sir?
Yeah, I'm making contact right now. Excuse me?
Why are you worried about that?
Because I do security. This is all federal property. You can't be on federal property unless you have an appointment. Excuse me?
How confident of that are you?
Pretty confident of that.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Oh, he's shouting right now.
Willing to make you a bet on that?
Is this what's his name?
Why are you on federal property?
Sounds so familiar.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Why would I explain that to you?
Because you're not supposed to be on federal property unless you have a reason to be on federal property.
As Free refused to claim his identity, he was asked to leave. Not only did he refuse to leave the site, but he also called FPS.
You have a proper identification.
So are you asking for my identification?
Yes, sir. Do you have any identification? That's fine.
My name's Gandalf.
That's fine. And where did you park at, sir?
What's that?
Where did you park at?
Actually, did
Really?
a halo jump. It's a little chilly up at 40,000.
It is pretty cold up.
It is really cold up at 40,000.
Can I walk you off federal property? I'm not trying to be rude.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, no. I'm gonna politely decline that request.
I have to ask you to leave, otherwise.
I totally understand. You have to ask me. I'm sure that's probably in your policy manual or something.
It is.
I'm gonna deny the request politely.
Mr. Free confidently bet that even if the authorities arrived, they would leave before he did.
I'm gonna make a quick bet with you guys that even if they do by some chance show up, that they'll leave before I do.
Oh, they will be here.
Yeah,
They're en route. Yeah,
I'm gonna make a.
I am free.
They're gonna leave before I do. Any takers?
I'm not a betting man.
Not a betting man.
No, I got too many kids to feed.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. I can appreciate that. Oh, hey, that was fast. Is there a PRO on site, by the way? Is there a PRO on site?
As the other officer named Michael arrived, surprisingly, they seemed very close.
Well. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
What are you doing up here all the way
I
from
knew it was
Portland?
going to be you. How are you, man?
Pretty good. How about you? 1523.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Or do you just prefer Michael?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
He asked the security officer to grant Mr. Free access to the building. Public buildings like this one don't need any specific process, and Mr. Free had all the rights to enter the building.
I don't know which one you're with. I mean, like I said, like I told you before, I'm not going to stop you from.
Well, I know there's. I mean, honestly, I know I'm not going to get any problem with you, Michael. So I'm with Inland Auditing Media.
Okay.
So
yeah.
All right.
Good to see you, man.
Nice to see you, man.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm Gandalf, by the way.
Carlos.
Yep.
No, we haven't dealt. I'm a dog handler, so I don't.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Fair enough. How's 1414 doing?
He's good. Yeah.
He seems he's a bit of a rigid man.
Yeah, but he's all right. He's all right.
No, he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, he's good.
Did I catch him on a bad day?
No, I think you were his first minute auditor, and I was letting him take it at first.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
He's good. You know, he you know what? I think it helped. I think things like this help.
This statement was quite concerning. Is it going to be an audit to reveal good practices or expose some troubling revelations?
Police just to be involved in something like this and get to know exactly what we're supposed to do and stuff like that. So
yeah, well, and in the long stream effect, or the downstream effect rather, is that there are things I don't know.
click.
If you guys have
sun's getting in the eye.
Oh,
you can do it all night long.
Oh my God. Oh, fuck me bouncing. You know what it was?
What?
I didn't have it shared as screen. I had it shared as a window. Which means I can't just flip-flop out the things I want to do. I got to actually go in. Oh, yeah? You're not going to do it right? There you go. Do the right thing.
Do the right thing. Do you have the sound on? No.
Good God, girl.
What? I don't hear the sound. No sound. You have no sound.
That's because you sent it to me in Google.
How else am I supposed to send it?
Hold on.
The link is the link, no matter. I mean, even if
It does matter. If you send it in Google, it opens in Google.
I put it in
Right.
StreamYard.
Okay, well, you know what?
Oh, you mean I had to open it in Windows?
Well, no. You sent it in StreamYard, right?
Yeah.
Because in the StreamYard,
Some troubling revelations.
Since it comes in Google, Google is what StreamYard is in. When I just clicked it and tried to pop it up on my screen, it didn't share the sound because the sound is filtered out by StreamYard because they're both playing in the same browser.
Got it.
All right. You didn't care in the first place.
I did. I did.
All right, people walking up on one. Don't say nothing, okay?
What's up, guys?
How's it going? How you doing tonight?
Good. You guys just saw them to stop?
Huh?
You saw this to just stop?
Watching the stop. Yeah, watching the.
What did he say?
Doesn't matter.
I'm just asking questions. I'm not.
Oh, I know that. I mean, yeah, but yeah, I don't answer questions. I appreciate it though, man.
Yeah.
Watching this. Yeah, watching this. How's it going? How you doing tonight?
You just saw them to stop?
Huh?
Saw this to stop?
Watching the stop. Yeah, watching this.
What?
Dude, I have underwear older than this guy.
That pause frame.
It's good. I like it. It's going to give you a big, fat, sloppy, wet kiss. I'm just saying. Is it just me or are cops getting younger?
Well, yeah. I mean,
silly pickups.
Have you ever come across a pickup truck so strange and unconventional that it left you utterly baffled?
no.
Prepare to dive into...
Bro, have you ever seen one of those 454 SS's freaking working?
No.
Dude.
Bro.
Off the factory, the doggone thing was a Corvette killer. Like, wow. My brother had one, and it shouldn't have been legal.
To the world of automotive oddities as we reveal the top 30 silliest pickup trucks of all time.
Silliest.
These quirky vehicles are sure to astonish and amuse even the most experienced car enthusiasts. Number 30, 1948, GMC cab over engine pickup. Let's take a closer look at the 1948 GMC.
Dude, it is so beautiful. You get one of those that's been sitting in a field in Arizona for like 25 years, and you drop it out, put you a freaking 454 off in it, and a good low-geared transmission. Man, you can tow anything on earth. And then the coolest thing you ever saw, look at that thing. Good God, man, it's beautiful. What's up, Cliff? Welcome in, bud.
Hey, Cliff, welcome in.
Like traditional trucks. This configuration not only reduces the vehicle's overall length, but also offers exceptional visibility for the driver without any open hood. Under the hood, the cab-over-engine pickup was powered by various engine options, with the inline six-cylinder engine being a common choice. Specific displacement figures may vary, but these engines typically produced around 90 to 100 horsepower, providing ample power. Cadillac pickup.
Cadillac made a truck.
The production years for the 1956 Cadillac pickup were nestled within the Cadillac Series 62 lineup,
I've seen one
extending from 1954 to 1958. Within this time frame, Cadillac showcased an array of opulent vehicles ranging from sedans to coupes and convertibles. The hallmark of the 1956 Cadillac Series 62 lay in its robust V8 engine, boasting two distinctive options. The initial variant featured a displacement of 5,981 cubic centimeters, generating 285 brake horsepower at 4,600 revolutions per minute and 400 foot-pounds at 3,800 revolutions per minute. Trucks
Probably
were in
one of the
production
most
in
beautiful
1948.
trucks ever made. This is another one of those old lovelies as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's nice.
Just, man, there's this old dude that lived down the road. He had one of these things. I don't remember specifically which one, but he had one of these things that was solid rust from front to back. He drove it every freaking day to town, went and got him a bottle of liquor and drove home. As far as I know, that was his entire personal activity. I'm unaware of anything else that he did. Then you've got the Chevy Love.
Oh, yeah.
That's like the S10 before the S10.
I learned to drive stick shift in one of those.
You got to admit, it's one of the prettier trucks on this list, man. It's like Toyota built the Chevy Hilux in response to this thing. This is like the Ford Ranger before there was a Ford Ranger.
Right.
The Ford version of it at the time was a Courier. But these things are mean, bro. Mean. The Lightning, the early one.
Ford F-150 SVT Lightning, developed with Ford's special vehicle team, featured a 5.8-liter V8 engine, delivering 240 horsepower at 3,000.
This thing was running a 351 Windsor, like meanness incarnate.
800 revolutions per minute. This two-wheel drive regular cab short box. Number 24, Chevrolet Cheyenne Super 10. The Chevrolet Cheyenne Super 10, popular in the early 70s, made a strong impression with its robust engine options, including a 7.4-liter V8, delivering...
That's 454. There's nothing wrong with anything here. These are all perfectly legitimate, beautiful vehicles. They're just...
SRT 10, produced from 2004 to...
Yeah, this is trash.
Trash. That's okay.
I mean, you get what I'm saying. It's calling things silly that are not silly at all.
Right.
There's nothing unusual about it. The cab over is the only one I've seen. The Cadillac one, that's another one. Like the Highboy, like it's one of the most desirable trucks ever made.
All right, let's wrap this up because I got a potty.
That's the one right there. So you're just gonna piss me off and then piss off?
Yes, yes. All right, it's that time of night. Thank you everybody for coming in. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next week in the naughty corner.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay.
That's all, folks.